Coming to you live from downtown Detroit, this is Benzinga's PreMarket Prep with your host, Joel Elconin.
This is a volatile puppy here, isn't it?
And Dennis Dick.
I'm bidding a penny. I will buy the stock for a penny.
With everything you need to start your trading day. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this Tuesday edition of Benzinga's Pre-Market Prep. Rainy Tuesday here in the Motor City. Spencer Israel, Joel Elconin, Dennis Dick with you this morning. We've got JNJ on our minds with the news from yesterday in the opioid case in Oklahoma. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about what else was on our radar? We had the JNJ. We had our M&A rumor in Altria. So we'll talk about Altria, Philip Morris, maybe not getting together. Talk through that. Talk through a couple of earnings, a couple of ratings, and it is Tuesday, so we'll do ticker time at the end of the show. We'll take your questions. Joel will break down some charts from 9 to around 9:10 or so. So we'll have that segment at the end. Our guest today, Nick Shaheen, joins us every other Tuesday at 8:35. He's the author of Create Income with Option Spreads. Joel, what's happening here overnight as I unmute you?
Got a nice range in the S&Ps. Little dip off the open, went to 28.69 and a quarter. I have absolutely no level there, so I don't know why it stopped there. We've taken out the high from yesterday at 84 even, pre-market high 89.50. And the good news is we're in a trading range. The bad news is I don't know where the bottom of the trading range is, but certainly know where the top of the range is, and that's 29.40 in the S&P 500 futures. Crude is in the green here by 60 cents, still in a little bit of consolidation here. Can't mount a major rally until we clear 56. Gold up 460 at 1541.80. Silver, is that right? Silver's knocking on the door of $18, up 30.4 cents at 17.94. And Bitcoin flat at $10,000. Let's bring in our JNJ market maker expert, Dennis, and let's see what that did after hours.
Let's start with the TLT because I just want to start overall market.
Sure.
TLT is rallying significantly. The market is up. That's been a rare, like obviously I've said that's been a tell before for me. Financials are looking a little bit weak. We do have the banks trading slightly down. The TLT matters more to them than obviously the overall market. But like we've been saying, the market is worried about yields. And when we've seen the TLT rally, typically the market is sold off. That is not the case this morning, but that is a little bit of a tell for me. So I don't know if we're going to continue to see both TLT and the market significantly higher. So I would not be surprised if the market started leaking for that reason. I'm slightly short just because the TLT is higher.
Well, that scenario what you were talking about certainly came to fruition on Friday. Of course, this market never repeats what it did in previous sessions and stuff, but it's up huge. It's up. I'm looking at the 30-year bond up 30 seconds here, just knocking on the door, new all-time highs. I see the banks a little bit weak. So let's see, yesterday's high in the bonds was up at 167.15. So we'll keep an eye on that level as well.
So, okay, you wanted to talk to JNJ. Give us this news from last night on the opioid crisis. JNJ gets found guilty.
Right.
Stock rallies, but not directly rallies. Stock sells off significantly and then rallies. It was a wild after hours for JNJ.
So we knew this decision was coming at 4 o'clock yesterday. I forgot to mention on the show the rule.
We knew this was coming?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I knew. I guess I should have mentioned.
Yeah, I didn't know. I was like, whoa, it must be a decision. I did not know that was scheduled. So
right. It was scheduled for yesterday.
The beats on
it. So the judge ruled against the company in Oklahoma's case against them, ordered them to pay a penalty of $572 million, which is almost at the bottom of the range of what they were expected to pay. Evercore had projected a range of, should they be found guilty, $500 million to $5 billion. That was the penalty range, and they were ordered to pay $572 million. So almost at the bottom of the expected range. So the ruling itself, if you're an investor, it's bad. But if the silver lining is it could have been a whole lot worse.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's interesting how these news algos maybe it's selective perception on my part, but how they're wrong so often. They absolutely got slaughtered on this because they hit this JNJ down so hard on this ruling. They just see found guilty, sell. That's probably what the algo was written. Obviously didn't incorporate any of the expectations for where the fines were going to be, because the fine was significantly less than what was thought, which is why it subsequently rallied. But we got down to the 124 handle on this. So we were down over $3 on the initial headline. It was not down there for more than 10 seconds. And then the real rational human being, which, like I said, if you've got rational thought, you can actually come in and trade these. Or maybe it was another person that had an algorithm, but normally the algorithmic move moves in the first couple seconds. And then it's, up to humans to digest that and figure out whether they're right or wrong. They were dead wrong. The stock then rallied $10, going up to over $134 before coming back in. And that was an overshoot too, because up 7 on this is ridiculous as well. And now it's up $1.70. So you see, okay, $1.70, whoop-de-doo day. 10-point range for JNJ after hours. Big money, no whammy. Whammy for the algos.
And we'll just look at it technically here. I mean, unless you have your orders out ahead of time and you just say, hey, I just want to buy at 125 on the way down, no matter what happens. That's the only way you're going to catch it, because once it turns, there's no shot. Your pre-market low is 124.33. On the upside, when you rallied over 134, you got to 134.80, and I do see another high in that area, like 133 and change, 133.83. So I use those parameters. But what Spencer pointed out on the pre-market show is, look how, well, it's starting to leak a little bit now, but you had some major price discovery really for, most of the after hours session this morning. People really don't know what to make of it. And now you're getting a little bit of a leak here in JNJ, but keep an eye on unchanged. I think that would be the determining factor for me if I was trading it today.
Obviously, it's not clear-cut good news either. I mean, they were found guilty, right, Spencer?
Right. Well, the judge ruled against them. They're going to appeal. This is not the end of this case, obviously.
Oh, definitely not the end. Right. But I wouldn't say it's a clear-cut victory here either. So I don't know what people were doing buying that up $6-7 last night too. So, the algos were definitely wrong on the headline, reading guilty and just equaled sell. And obviously the human being that comes in after and buys it up, it was logical, except the ones that decided to go over 134. I mean, don't chase. So anyways, that just got overdone. That was the bottom line. It got overdone when it went over 134. It slowly started to leak. And now you're at 120. Where are we now? 129 and change?
Yeah.
I mean, we have leaked, 2/3 of the gains back. So this is still a coin flip here. I wouldn't say we're going up the after hours highs. I wouldn't say we're going down to the after hours lows. I think those are safe. I think you're going to probably chop around in here a bit, but it's not clear-cut good news either. They did lose. So just because they're paying less isn't necessarily a victory here. So like you said, they are going to appeal it. So it's not even close to being over with yet. But I'm not coming in buying JNJ up $1.67 on the hopes it's getting back to 134, because I don't believe it is.
Are you still making markets in it?
What I start, so I will make the odd markets, and it's not necessarily markets. I provide liquidity on some of the bigger ones, even after hours or in the pre-market sometimes. I pulled JNJ from that system 6 months ago because of this opioid stuff. I'm like, there could be random news on this. We don't know. Well, obviously Spencer did know. I wish he would have told us that.
I'm sorry.
Tell me that next time.
I forgot.
I did not have orders out there on JNJ. So, and the reason I don't put after hours orders in JNJ is for that exact reason, that I don't want to get picked off in the event that, there's a sudden ruling, on this opioid. Obviously the talcum powder issue was an issue a while ago again too. So that's why I don't typically just sit limit orders out there on a stock like JNJ.
Good point, and a good point by someone in the YouTube chat here. This is not the only lawsuit. This is not the only opioid lawsuit. There's a federal lawsuit in Cleveland that J&J is a part of that's going to start in, I think, October.
Far from over. Obviously, there was other stocks moving off of this as well that are involved. You can think about Teva. I believe, was it Mylan Labs involved there too, Spencer?
Yeah, they popped too. Mylan popped, Teva popped. Yeah,
they leaked.
Mallinckrodt
popped too, and it leaked, and Mallinckrodt always ends up red, doesn't it? It's a stock that's eternally sold on every single pop that it gets. I mean, this stock, Like, you want to talk about stocks that look like on the death march? MNK is the stock. $35 a year ago. It's $4. People will say, oh, wow, it's cheap now. I'll buy it here and I'll sell it when it goes back to 35 in a couple of years. Stocks go from 35, go to 4, usually go to 0. I don't know if it's going to be the case with MNK, but statistically speaking, that would be where the money probably is betting. And that's why it's up $4. I don't know if it's going to 0 or not, but I don't follow the individual story. I just know stocks go down that far, typically don't come back.
And I mean, we don't need to get in a whole fundamental discussion about this, right? I mean, we'll let the court. All right. No, I mean, there's a lot of different ways you can go with it. You know, addicts will be addicts. Addicts will, go to doctors. They'll get their drugs. Things. How can you blame a company for that? On the other hand,
not JNJ's fault.
I'm not saying I'm not going to make. I'm staying. This is non-political Tuesday. I have a hard time with the ruling because people, if they weren't getting opioids, there's a lot of other drugs that they can get on the open market, and I don't think JNJ can control human behavior.
That's a good point. I blame the inverted yield curve.
In China, I really think JNJ is messing us up with China too. I mean,
okay, well, we're going on a tangent here, so it's not something to make fun of. It's a serious crisis here in the U.S. So I don't know. Obviously, the judge feels that JNJ is somewhat to blame. We'll see what happens on the appeal, and we'll see what happens with these other stocks as well. But this, like Spencer says, this story is far from over. We do have stories that are over, and that is earnings, and we have a couple last night. I did not realize that Billy was going to report earnings. Somehow missed that one on my earnings calendar, and I got hit, and I was like, oh, this is reporting earnings. And then I looked, I was like, well, what were the earnings? And I was like, I don't see any earnings. And I'm like, it's still going down. I'm like, why? Well, the earnings is obviously out there. Look at the chart from last night. Like, they've got to be out there because this thing is just in full tank mode. But I'm like, I still don't see the earnings report. This was at like 5 o'clock. Stock goes down to 1340. The earnings weren't out yet. It tanked $1.10 on the earnings. I actually went down to 1330. It tanked $1.20 on earnings that didn't come out yet.
They were out at 7 o'clock.
I know. I don't know why it had that huge tank around 5 o'clock. And I ended up, okay, well, I'm like, I don't see any earnings. I'm not going to sell it here because I don't know why it's going down. I bought it way too early because I thought I didn't see any earnings report, and I didn't know it was out. And I bought it when it was down a little bit, and then it went down a lot. Came back, and actually I ended up almost making money on that thing. But it reported earnings then at 7 o'clock, and then it came in a little bit. But I don't know who had the memo or didn't have the memo when the thing went down to 1330, 2 hours before it reported earnings. Weird things happening sometimes after hours.
All right, the actual numbers, the EPS, 11-cent loss versus 12-cent loss estimate, sales of $224 versus $211 million, so a beat and a beat. Average monthly users, 110 million, up 30% on a year-over-year basis. Mobile MAUs, 96 million, up 35% on a year-over-year basis. So year-over-year growth, I'm really not sure why the stock reacted the way it did.
I have no idea why it tanked 2 hours before the earnings report. Somebody obviously thought the earnings were going to be very bad. They weren't great, but they weren't that bad. And it didn't even get close to where it was after hours here. It's just kind of meandering, trading down 25 cents. Not a big deal. Let's throw Momo in with this too. I mean, they're different companies, but they're both China. Momo did report earnings here. Did we get the Momo report this morning?
Yep, pulling up. Give me one.
Yeah, it's up $1. So it was up $1 last night ahead of the report. People just get excited on these reports.
All right, Momo, 82 cents versus a 72-cent estimate on the EPS, 604 versus $574 million. So beat and a beat. Same story for Momo.
Stock trading up about $1. Joel, thoughts on first Billy? Crazy.
Billy.
I really didn't. I would say $14. That was if you look from the previous day, $14 was the low. Let's see if that holds first of all, and then on the other side, I guess you just go with yesterday's range. 15.15. It's kind of right in the middle of that. Maybe it gets those words at the lower end of it. You see what it does there. Does it hold or does it take it up? It takes it out. Maybe it tries that after hours low way down at 13.30.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to do any real numbers on these stocks. Until the China deal's done, I just really don't have an interest in these stocks. Looking at them, they're just going to meander. They're both in decided downtrends here. So if you're trading them intraday or scalping them, use your daily highs and lows, double tops, double bottoms and stuff. But all the charts look horrible. I've been bullish Baidu since like 130 and I haven't bought it yet. So I don't know. There's just too much going
They
on.
couldn't even hold on to the gains, Baidu. I mean, it gave back half the gains already from the awesome earnings report. That was a kick butt earnings report, and it gave back half the gains. So it's hard to get that excited about. Although I did see something go by on my timeline or on the news feed here this morning about some deal or something with Baidu. But anyways, besides the point, I think Momo was one that I was actually in my investment portfolio for a while. I played it twice, 25 to like 35, and then it came back down. I rebought it, and I made money on it again. I almost should if it gets back down there 25, 26, and not saying it's going to do that, but if it ever gets back down there, because these things are wild, been lots of support down there in that 25, 26 area for Momo.
All right, I'll reserve comments on that, but I did see something here. Someone new in the Google chat here, Kenny R asked if we could talk about plan earnings and a plan.
Yeah.
You follow it? You trade it?
Yeah, I know Anaplan. I traded last night ahead of the report, actually. So I actually was able to. I actually was long a little bit. You know how I like playing them ahead of the report, and I got out of 60 last night ahead of the report. So it was a good out. Apparently a very good out because the thing's 54 and a half. But I mean, these things are kind of wild sometimes right before the reports too. People jockeying. Sometimes you can get some action afterwards, and wish I would have shorted it. I didn't short it, but I got out of the long at a pretty good price. Down $4.50. Not good news here, Mr. Israel.
I'm sorry. I wish I had a better explanation for this one, but I don't, because the numbers were good. They beat on the EPS. They beat on the sales. Their Q3 sales guidance was above estimates, and they raised their full year sales guidance. So there's nothing bad in the headlines. I'm going to have to dig deeper into the filing, try to understand why the stock is down the way it is. Maybe could have to do with the fact that they reported gap numbers, and the adjustment and the gap is always can cause some confusion there. But I'm really not sure why the stock is down the way it is.
Oh, they're the company that does the capital S, small AA, capital S platform.
What?
I'm looking
on that one too.
Yeah, it's the name of a software company. No, it's
SaaS. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like a industry lingo thing.
For what? What does it mean?
Software as a service.
Oh, software as a service. Okay.
All I know is their software. That's what I know about them.
I don't know what to tell you.
Driving a new age of connected planning. So I'm assuming it's planning software.
Wow. This thing has, at 60, it tripled from its low off its IPO here. So I don't know what to tell you. There's a lot of people sitting on a lot of profits. And if this is a buy the dip opportunity, then I would look for the pre-market low to hold at 52.71. We are above that, under 52.71. I mean, this thing could go absolutely anywhere. I would think about, look at some daily lows, see if you can find a couple in the same area. I see a couple in the 52 handle, so that coincides with the pre-market low. After that, 51.45, 50, two pair of lows at 50 as well. But man, if you're sitting on a lot of profits in this thing and you think, oh, I'm going to wait for a bounce, well, wait to see what happens if it takes out the pre-market low.
Wait till it stops going down.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, Splunk is still falling from earnings too, and Splunk was a darling, and it had another very bad day yesterday, on a day that the market was actually holding up okay. I mean, we had a pretty good day yesterday, and Splunk was down again. So not obviously these two companies have nothing to do with each other, but they've both been in favor. And Splunk reported disappointing earnings. Kind of tried to rally a little bit afterwards, but has pretty much been leaking since. So is this going to be the case where they bounce this right back? If they bounce right back, it's a different story. But if it starts to stay down here for a couple of days and then continue to leak, you got to wait till these things stop going down, because that Splunkster, if you were buying it right off the initial report there on day one, you're down another $10 at least on it, depending on where you bought it. So it hasn't been pretty. I mean, Splunk is coming into support at 107, so we'll see what it does there. But sometimes being early on these after disappointing earnings isn't the best idea.
If you want a longer, I mean, the all-time high was made yesterday at 60.34, and the all-time closing high was 59.35. So if you just think it's going to shake off this report, rally back, boy, big volume day yesterday. You want to get above 60, close above 60, but like $5 away. But man, we've seen these stocks do so many different things. I'm hazard to guess where this one's going to go today.
One other report there, and then we'll move away from earnings, but it's Smucker, your jam company, and it's getting jammed here this morning to the downside. Down $6, 106. It's a stock that's been in a clear downtrend, at least for the last 3 months, kind of no trend for the last 2 years, resolving itself again to the downside here, taking out all the key support. You get down to 106. I mean, yeah, it could bounce around a little bit, but you start to think about that. Could it go into single or double digits at $99? Maybe it's on its road there.
You start to wonder if this is a similar story to Kraft Heinz here, but JM Smucker missed.
I hope it's not a similar story to Kraft Heinz, because that Kraft Heinz story is awful. I don't think we're at that point with SJM, but definitely a stock that has not been in favor for a while.
So they missed on the EPS, $1.58 versus $1.74. Missed on the sales, 1.77 versus 1.87 billion dollars. They cut their full year EPS guidance, lowered it by 10 cents, and what else did they do? That's it. Just a miss and a guidance cut.
Still sitting on the lows.
Cuts are never good.
Yeah. 106 is your pre-market low, just hovering above it. So it looks like we have some more work to do on the downside here. According to your daily charts, there was a low at 106.51. Actually, I see three lows between 106 and 107.07. So needs to hold that area. If not, I'm looking at least 103.28, and then my better level, if you really want to squeeze the short out of this, and look for 102.60. That separates 3 lows back on March 12th, 13th, and 14th.
Buy Apple's talking about ATVI. I was looking at ATVI last night there too, and there was a game that was released last night. It had a lot of people streaming on it. It was
really?
Yeah. When I've been talking, I own ATVI in the long-term portfolio, and I've been talking about the potential for them to come out with a game, with streaming game, because they're all going to go to that. And here it is. So it's back up. I mean, this is my long-term portfolio. I put it in there because Michael Pachter said he thought it was a double in 2 years. Michael Pachter knows a lot more about gaming stocks than I do, so I went right with them. He said that on our show. I put in my investment portfolio that day after he said that on our show, and I've kind of been sticking with it ever since. I bought around $50. It's been down to $40, and back up to 50, down to 43, back up to 50. Back almost to even here again. I don't know if I'm ever going to make money in this thing, but it's in the long-term portfolio sitting there. It's been in there for quite a while now. Thoughts here? First of all, Spencer, give us details on this game.
I don't know a lot about it, honestly. I'm just buy Apple.
World of Warcraft.
Right, World of Warcraft Classic, right, which is a
classic.
A lot of people streaming on this last night.
I didn't know about it.
I don't think this isn't I think some people are speculating this is an EA type stream, but remember EA had so many people streaming very quickly. This has got a lot, but it's not even at that level of that game that was released by EA when EA spiked from 72 to 105 in 3 days on the game. I don't see that happening, but it's helping the stock this morning.
I did not get to that game. I was locked in a battle with Drake on Fortnite, and I just I could not leave my Fortnite platform, so I did not get to check.
Did you beat Drake?
No, I lost again.
So
he's so good. Gosh, he's good. And I made it really far, but then he got me when I jumped off a building. He shot me in the middle of the air.
His story is so good, I can't tell if he's making it up or not. He's doing pretty good. Pretty sure he's not a gamer, but man, you got all the details there, Joel.
I stop laughing here.
Okay.
They said over 1 million people were watching the stream last night on Twitch. So I mean, we know that esports has a large audience.
Before we move on, I want to talk about ATVI for a second, because Spencer, pull up the daily first, because I really got a level I like here. You see the pair of highs at 50. Got pair of highs at 51.24, 51.35. See, that's a double top there. I like that. That's a nice target. And then if you want to talk about a sleepy chart on a monthly, pull this thing up and look at this. This thing could be ready to explode. You have been, since January, you've been bumping your head up.
The market's exploding right now.
Yeah, what's going on, Spencer? What'd you do? Did China call? Are we settling this deal or what?
Cancel all orders.
How many days in a row do you have to do that?
Every day. Stop. Why does I have to do this every day? Cancel all orders again. Every day.
Cancel the sell orders, Dennis.
Well, I know I need to cancel all sell. I know I didn't have very many orders out there. I just quickly, yeah, you can actually do that. I can do that too. So you're right. That's a bad call. Just cancel all orders, but it's panic. It's like, cancel everything. Let's regroup and figure this out again.
ATVI. I just major
We're going
breakout
up
here.
big time
51
right now.
and a quarter. I like it. I mean, that's a sleepy chart looking to bust out. We'll see if this is the catalyst to help it. Please give me some news, somebody. What's going on? I don't have my pro up.
I'm looking, and I swear this happens every day, and it's almost never anything of significance. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. There's no. It's probably something China related, but or someone made a comment, but I don't know. I don't know.
What about TweetDeck? Is TweetDeck saying anything here on my Twitter? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Well, we'll find out in a few minutes what the bullish news was. So, okay, we got 8 minutes here till Nick comes.
Here's that's from 10 minutes ago though. That's South Korea urges Japan to retract economic retaliation. I don't know if that's it. That was 10 minutes ago. I don't know.
I'm in a fast market here.
Okay, we can keep going, Spencer.
Keep going. Talk. Go to the ratings.
Well, there was one thing that
go.
There's actually a couple things that we missed.
I need 3 minutes to adjust.
So we didn't talk about Papa John's here yet, and it's blasting off this morning. I guess a new CEO is worth something. So that's the news.
Oh, the old pop off the new CEO trick.
That's what it is. They
man.
Bob Lynch is their president and CEO. They reaffirmed their full year EPS guidance of a range of $1 to $1.20.
Could this be Facebook developing new messaging app? Could that be the news? That can't be.
No way.
Facebook's not moving, so it's definitely not Facebook.
Okay. Boy, we've seen these pops off the new CEOs, and they usually don't last. We'll see what happens with this one. The stock has been in the gutter for a long time. You're trading at the highs of the pre-market session, 48.80, I believe. Yeah, 46.80. So there's, keep an eye on that pre-market high. You look for, move over that. To me, I'd be convinced if you get over 47, close over 47, then you got another leg up in this thing. 47.07 was your high in July 26. But, what is he doing today? Sometimes you see these moves come and they love it. I just remember when Ron Johnson came to J.C. Penney, and they popped that stock, because he came from Apple. They popped that stock, I think, to $35. And you know where that stock's at today. So don't put a lot of, emphasis on these moves short term. 47 looks like it's been major resistance here going all the way back to the middle of June.
And then the other big headline that we want to hit on was this M&A rumor with Philip Morris and Altria here. So headline yesterday that Philip Morris had canceled out of a Barclays conference. You don't see, or anytime a company cancels out of an investment conference, you always wonder why. I think this may have been the source of a rumor that Philip Morris could be involved here with Altria. Wells Fargo commented in a note that they haven't heard any specific news to explain the moves in the stocks yesterday, just renewed speculation in a merger between the two. But I think the fact that Philip Morris canceled out of this conference, I think that was the source.
Anyways, Philip Morris, what's interesting here is MO barely went up on this news, and Philip Morris got hit on this news. It made no sense at all. I mean, if you think the stock's getting acquired, why not buy the ones getting acquired? They were just worried about hitting the one that was going down. So I don't know if there's anything to this, but Philip Morris was down $3 on this. At least that's what they attributed it to, at least the media. Mo was barely up. So Mo is up again here a little bit this morning. But if you think, and RBC came out with a note and said the price could be $60 or $62 to take this out. I mean, Mo never really traded up. So I don't know. Maybe there's a play here that you could try it. And, if the rumor materializes, you can make some money. If it doesn't materialize, well, I don't know how much it's going down anyways because it never went up.
All right,
I've never seen a rumor break and the stock that's potentially getting acquired doesn't go up.
Did we figure out who the source was on that?
I don't know if there was one, honestly. I think personally that it stemmed from the fact that Philip Morris canceled out of a conference, and then somebody
Well,
used that as a chance to say, oh, maybe they're doing this Altria thing. Maybe they're buying Altria. I don't know.
I have no idea either.
I'll just look at, like I said, the low of the move. I mean, if you're trying to pick a bottom in here, 45.22 has been the low of the move. So if you think there's something good here, you're buying it in this area, you know where your out is. It kind of has a rounding bottom, is kind of trying to go higher. But once again, $15 away from that supposed takeout price. No can do. And then they hit Philip Morris on this. That made an interesting low yesterday at 70. What was the low from yesterday? 76.41. And that's a good level. Keep an eye on. 76.38 was your June 21st high. After that, the low of the move at 75.58.
A couple minutes here until we bring on our guest today, Nick Shaheen. Dennis, any imbalances? If you can see, I don't know if you're.
General Electric every day, 427,000 to sell in General Electric today. Stock goes down on all the down days, barely goes up on the up day. Dog of all dogs. I know that lots of people on CNBC have been saying, oh, the value, so much value. Not on this show. We haven't been talking about the value. We've been talking about the lack of value here. $8.05. So it's down here again on an up day. It just cannot get any life. That and Halliburton. It seems like Halliburton too goes down no matter what. Oil goes up, Halliburton goes down. Oil goes down, Halliburton goes down. So there's a lot of dogs out there. Halliburton, GE are two of the best dogs.
All right, S&P futures up 875 at 28.92. We hit 96 and a quarter. Still scrambling for the news on that. So we'll see. Really no clear resistance here. I mean, you could call 2,900 a psychological level, but you got to be thinking about the double close from Wednesday and Thursday at 29.22. That'd be one heck of a rally. But really that major resistance, we hit up 29.40 a couple times last week. So that would be breaking through the roof of the trading range.
834 here. You know what? I see Nick Shaheen. Let's bring him on in the background here. So Nick Shaheen, as I mentioned at the top, joins us every other Tuesday. He is the author of Create Income with Option Spreads and also runs sellspreads.com. Nick, good morning.
Good morning to you.
How's it going?
Pretty good. Good debate you got going on here. So pretty uncertain times, whipsawed by words here and words there. So we have a president who's pretty Twitter happy. And over there, seems like state media speaking for President Xi.
You can, I saw that, maybe this isn't new, but you can take bets, place bets on the number of tweets Trump will post. So here I'm seeing... Let's see, how many tweets will Donald Trump post from noon August 21st to noon August 28th? So obviously this isn't, you could have done this a week ago or so, but you can bet on the frequency. And I guess, dude, I don't know. What a time to be alive. What can I say?
Right. So the problem is that the prices right now are at pivotal zones for a lot of things. So the S&P is at a short-term pivot for in my perspective. So anytime we breach either side of a tight range, then we run in that direction. But I don't know if I can believe it. Like this morning, I could say, all right, so we have a line to breach and run upside, but then we're approaching September 1st. Is the news already baked in because of what happened on last Friday? And, I expected Monday to be ugly, and it wasn't. It was kind of a week after, before the market opened in the overnight session in the futures. But there was so much bad news that I expected a lot bigger. I didn't think 2,800 was going to hold. So, maybe it's good news. Maybe we shook out all the weak hands, and it will take incremental bears from here, and maybe they're not here yet.
Nick, someone asked about in the pre-market chat, and I want to get to it before we move on. Google, whatever. I don't know what you prefer. I prefer the legacy Goog. You go with the Google. I don't know. I don't really like trading or charting $1,000 stocks, but I know you do. You apply your analysis to it. Tell us what you're looking at in Google, either with the L or without.
Sure. I usually use the Goog with the L, Google. The other one, I've seen shenanigans, some sort of a catch-up dividend thing where I didn't like. When you're holding options, you don't want anything to mess with surprise repricing or moving this way or that way. So it just makes it complicated. Google is the better one. So a few days ago, Google had a tight range and a move was coming and I didn't know which way and I drew it in yellow. I'll post a chart here. I had to log me out, so sorry about that. Okay, I'm back in. Let's see here. So the tight move was going to come, headline or not. The price range went from very wide to really pinpointed, and then it was going to go one way or another. So the line to beat on the upside was 11.95 and change. It didn't happen. The line to beat on the downside was 11.80, and it did happen. So now the recent bounce at 11.50 is comforting because that was the last bounce, but there's another one below it at 43 and change. And 1122, 1121 is the POC, the point of control for about, 12 months, almost. Actually, less than that if we zoom in. So about 10 months, 8 months eyeball. So there should be support there. So if I'm long Google with conviction for the long term, this doesn't shake me out. If I'm looking to go long, maybe I'll start nibbling. But what my concern is that the rhetoric now is so negative that it's almost like December. Even though we have a supportive Fed, we have extremely combative egos up top, and we're not approaching a solution. They're not even talking. They're lying about talking. So we don't know what the heck is going on. They don't know what the heck is going on. And the yield curve is inverted. I know economists don't rule the world, but it just makes sense that if the short-term rates are really higher than the long-term rates, why would anybody lend to borrow short-term to lend long-term? So the banks are kind of crippled.
Yeah, what does this mean for the banks? I mean, there's a lot of things to worry about with the banks. You look at them and you say, yeah, they're trading below book in a case of Goldman Sachs, or you can look at Bank of America. I hear these arguments on CNBC. I don't even do these arguments myself because I don't put much weight in it. But you look at the charts, and the charts tell a story too, and they have underperformed. And the PEs are low, but there's lots to worry about. Like you said, this inverted yield curve is a major concern for them. But there's also worries that, hey, there's a lot of, especially the Canadian banks. I mean, oil's in the gutter. They've lent money to a lot of oil companies. And, we've talked about the Deutsche Bank issues. Europe has its own problems over there. I don't know what the contagion is there. I just think there's a lot of reasons to worry about the banks. What are your thoughts?
Definitely. If I look at the charts, forget the fundamentals. The last bounce, I have a trigger there. If it loses 25.90-ish, it has a head and shoulder like pattern. It's a neckline that's going to breach, and it's probably going to break below 25. If I zoom out, probably 24.75. I'm not calling for it, but they have a must-hold level. They're all cheap. I agree, except for JP Morgan probably is the most expensive of them. And now they're allowed to trade again a little bit, some sort of a news like that not too long ago. So the setup is good, but I don't understand enough about the inner workings of the bank to tell you that the inversion of the 10s to 2s as far as the curve really affects their model. It's probably the 30-day, the 3 months maybe.
Hey, Nick, quick question here. What are the horizontal lines on your charts? And I know they're not bids and ask prices. Juan wants to know, could you explain that to him? And also take a look at Bank of America.
Okay. I'm not sure which horizontal lines. I draw trigger lines for myself.
They're not bids and offers. I know that because they're constantly changing.
They're either my lines, and they're usually extensions. If they're the same color, you'll see a step-up pattern or a jagged pattern that says from this point at that point, and then some relief, and then this way. But the horizontal lines, like the orange line, is the actual point of control, and that's a mathematical thing from the volume profile. Okay. So it says this is where the bulls and bears fight it out the hardest for that period of time, and it's a variable. Okay, so Bank of America, like you all said, it's cheap, but it can get cheaper. They say it's U.S.-centric, but it's the chart looks like the XLF, and the exact same comment apply here. So it has a neckline below that it must hold. And if that neckline fails, it could be some sort of it's not a head and shoulder. I mean, all three heads are the same. I mean, shoulder are almost as high as the heads. But if you look at it and you're a technician and it loses that neckline, oh boy, it can get a lot cheaper. It can get in the low 24s real quick. I'm not calling for it. It shouldn't go there. Their P&L should be solid based on the Fed tests and all of that. And they still should make money. They charge fees left and right now. and they're slimline. I went into the Bank of America near me the other day. I didn't even recognize it. I haven't been in it in years. I was like, wait, what? It's like walking into a future place. There's no people. There's just like kiosks, and it was weird. So they shouldn't fall that far, but technically they definitely could. 26.21 is a place to hold for Bank of America.
Moving on to a different sector here, Nick. Anything in technology that had, besides from Google, that has your eye recently? You said a lot of stocks are at sort of pivotal points right now.
Yeah. So why don't we look at trigger points? I think Workday has an earnings report this week, and I think it has a pivot point around 200. It's a moving target to me. So if they can break above, let's pick the high, the recent fail level, which is 199 and change, 199.50. Let's call it eyeball there. So if they can break above that, then they could go to try to reclaim, say I'm going to eyeball it at 215. But this is pivot as far as not pivot. Sorry, it's a binary event because of the earnings, but they are in a place where their products should be in demand. So, but conversely, they do have a line to hold as well, which is 182.50, maybe a little higher than that. So if they lose that, then they're probably going to go down to the point of control at 165. So that would be there. So if I own them, the options market, I think, are pricing in $26 up or down this week. So I can probably sell some calls to buy some puts and protect myself for cheap if I'm okay leaving my shares at X level above. If I'm looking to go long, maybe I'll sell some puts, hoping that it falls so I can get a sign at a cheaper price. There are some ways to trade around an event if one does homework on the it's not cheap, definitely, but it is a growth stock. So cheap is not what you look for in growth stock. If you did, you'd have missed Amazon. So this is one guy I'd look for. Ulta also reports this week, so that might be another one you want to look at. And among retailers, there's not many winners, and that might be one.
Are you selling any puts in Macy's?
yeah, I get your point, but Macy's is no Workday.
Holy mackerel.
10.18% yield.
Yeah.
Stock goes down every day. We've hated it on this show for 2 years now.
Yeah, I was gonna say
when it went from 20 to 40. Now I'm looking okay at $14. I still hate Macy's as a stock. I mean, as a company, I don't shop there, but but as a stock, this is just awful looking. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, I've been on your show for years, and I don't remember one time saying good time to go along Macy's, just because I've been saying the retail have not figured out Amazon, the brick and mortar retails. Very few of them did. Target, for some reason, they figured out something. They're doing something different, and good for them. Walmart took the fight to the face of Amazon, and they're doing something with it, but they have, the platform to do it. Macy's kept ignoring Amazon and thought that online sales is a solution. And I did present a thing to you. They're killing themselves with this online sales. They should either hunker down with the foot traffic and find a way to attract the people in there, or ditch their model completely and go to boutiques and turn it into an online shopping experience, and change their model completely. Because when they're switching when they're saying, oh, their online sales is growing, they're taking away, my thesis was that they're taking away from their own foot traffic. So they're literally killing their own stores by going online, and at a loss, because their online efforts were losers because it was a new thing and they're overspending on it to make it happen. So it was a tough spot for them to be in. But I do not want to catch that falling knife.
And Macy's is in that group of stores where if you walk out having paid sticker price, you are a bad shopper, because it is so easy to get 20%.
Kohl's is special.
Yeah, you can get. You can't walk out of there without 4 coupons in your hand, right? So
this is such a good point. I mean, there is so many of these retailers that you absolutely have to have a coupon, or people all have a coupon.
Everyone has it.
It's never good news when you got to sell your merchandise at a discount to get rid of it, in my opinion.
So this is a monthly chart I just posted. So if you're a technician and you believe in Head and Shoulders or whatever, is there anything else to say? This thing is going to what 0.1. I don't know.
What year? How many years is that? What is
That's monthly down to 1999,
chart.
1998.
So you think we're going to revisit those 2009 financial?
No, I'm not. I don't want it to go there, but this is a monthly chart.
What it's looking like to you?
That's a sweet looking chart there. I like that.
Yeah,
nice trend. See that nice trend it had there from 2006.
You see my yellow note up there? Shorted it via note to members. When was that? 40 something and years ago, 2015.
I used to have a motto back in 2008 and 2009. It was short it and forget it.
Yeah.
And
so every time
it dwell on that where you have that little yellow line. If you would have short a stock and forgot you had it, you'd been like, oh, I did pretty good on that one. And I had to pay a little dividend along the way, but
and if you want to see how robots trade, you can see how they programs trade. You can see how they buy and they pivot around a moving average. So I have the smooth moving average, that red jagged line that goes across. Once they flip, they use it as support on the way up in that side, that upper channel, and then once they flip, it becomes boom, it hits it, sell. It hits it, sell. So
one more stock here, maybe a couple more. No one's talked about Tesla lately, and I know it fell after earnings and then kind of held in there. Now we're on another leg down. Are you boy, if you look at the charts, the daily charts, just in the middle of no man's land here. Any thoughts on Tesla?
All right. Boy, if I post the chart with all of my lines, it's going to be a comedy. I'm going to do it. So because I don't throw away my lines because I don't look at it on a weekly basis, but this is the weekly chart on Tesla. So try to look through whoops, sorry, that's Tesla, not Workday. Whoa, well, I don't know how that happened. So look through the clutter, and it's approaching. I mean, it recently bounced, I should say, in June off of an important 180 line. That was a good zone to have. And then now it's battling inside a well-consolidated zone. So it should have support here if we don't have any more surprises and if the market in general doesn't fall. It had a few days where it was green when the markets were falling on some weird headlines, but I'm really worried about the leadership in Tesla. And if he is truly that great of a genius, maybe he's not that good of an operator, and that's okay. But he should be able to recognize that and do like Bezos and surround himself with a team that actually can implement here's Tesla daily, implement a better execution plan to appease Wall Street and the investors. Maybe he's doing the right things, but the message is not coming across. So as far as the short-term concerned, lower highs, standing the ground into a pinpoint. Something has got to give. So it's either 200 or lower, or it's going to go up to try to 230 and then 240. That's my opinion. But it's got a lot of work to do.
It's kind of gone nowhere. I'm looking at the 5-year chart on this thing right now, and this was $215 back in 2014, 5 years ago. I mean, it's had a lot of volatility in there, but really in the last 5 years, we're just kind of where we were.
So here's a trading thing for Tesla. I would watch it. If the markets rally and if Tesla goes above 229, it's a moving target. It could close the gap at 260. But conversely, if it loses 209, 210, it's going to probably not hold 200.
Dennis, how's your put doing?
Doesn't even move.
Really?
So,
I closed mine.
I actually sold
my put
when the stock was 235, and now it's 215. And my puts, because I've had like 2 months, my puts barely budged. Like, I mean, it's got a wide range, so it trades a little bit. But what I did, Nick, I wrote a year, almost 2 years out, so it's not quite 2 years out now because I did this back in June. I wrote 2 years out the leaps, $120, and I got 20 points for it. And I basically said I don't think Tesla's going to zero.
I sold I got $17 for June's at 130 or 135. I can't remember.
Okay, and that's a 2021 or 2020?
Yeah, next year.
Next year. See, I went another year out, so I wanted to get more.
But I did it on a bad day. So
yeah,
it was like the Tesla puts were bad and the market was bad. The VIX was elevated, so the puts were hot, and I closed them around 11.
So you've closed it out already. See, I just put it on and I forgot about it. I said, this is a trade. I'm going to collect this premium. If the stock, if obviously it goes back under $100, then I'm going to start to lose. But my average cost basis would be $100 on that. I've always said that I think at a certain price, even though they have a lot of debt, at a certain price, I believe Tesla would find a buyer. So if they can't, this is my belief. I don't like this. There's people been on a show, a lot of people saying they think Tesla is a zero. I disagree with that. I put my money where my mouth is, because I think even if Musk doesn't figure it out, I think at a certain point in time, if the stock really started to collapse, he'd be pressed for teaming up with somebody else, and I think he would find somebody to team up with.
I agree, but overall, Tesla's especially Tesla stock needs the help of the whole market, and right now the whole market. I mean, I'm a bull. I have a bullish thesis saying that this dizzy here is man-made, it's self-inflicted, and these morons at the top would actually are not going to break a good thing globally. But today the German data was that they contracted, so they did break it, and the US will break too if they don't stop these shenanigans. And I'm not blaming one president over the other. It's just everybody's involved. They're like oblivious. They're putting politics ahead of the health of the economy. Like we need fiscal spending. There is no doubt about it. The Fed is willing to do monetary stimulus, but they can't control the fiscal spending. That is up to the government. And that crap is not going to happen because the Democrats are not going to pass anything, because that would benefit the reelection of the president. And so nothing's going to happen on the fiscal side, which is a shame, because we need it and we have the money. They can borrow cheap right now. So they should be building bridges, and they should be building like a worldwide Wi-Fi network that would enable the whole US. Talk about an advantage over the rest of the world. Some sort of a Hyperloop connection between here and the East Coast. It's just the opportunity is there. They just need to get over their egos and get it done.
Nick Shaheen is the author of Create Income with Option Spreads, also sellspreads.com. Joins us every other week. As always, Nick, thanks for the charts and the thoughts, and we'll talk to you in a couple weeks.
Looking forward to it.
Thanks, Nick.
Hey.
All right, 8:53 here. Got about 7 minutes before we go into Ticker Tuesday. There were a couple ratings I wanted to bring up. One of them was WW Weight Watchers getting an upgrade this morning from Craig Hallam. That's who it was. Yes, Craig Hallam upgraded them to buy, raising their price target from $25 to $35 on WW.
Stock's been in the gutter, but came out of the gutter, and this is what we talked about after that earnings report. And it's kind of been holding up not bad, considering what the market's done over the course of the last month. It's held up okay. And now you get an upgrade and it kickstarts it again. Can we take out the highs from 3 days after earnings at 31.59? That would be the question. But it's got some relative strength going right now. I mean, still clearly when you bring out your weekly chart, still in a clear downtrend here, but showing some life. It got maybe a little bit overdone when it got into the teens. The earnings showed you that when the stock popped $10 basically on the earnings report. And now it's starting to get back up near those highs. Take out those highs, it could start to open up again.
Yeah, my sentiments there exactly. You 30.39, so you're challenging that high of the move. That's at 31.59. Let me see if I see anything there on the monthlies. Nope. Next monthly high comes in at 32.75, and I know they had good earnings, but who's been good on this one, and you gotta we talk about the analyst being right and being wrong. Hasn't JP Morgan kind of goosed this thing a few times with some good calls? I believe so.
Sure.
I don't have my pro up, but yeah. But 31.59, haven't hit that yet in the pre-market. There's a nice target for you on the upside for WW.
Another one here, Verizon. I don't know the last time. Don't know the last time they had.
Long time.
It's been maybe a year, but they're getting an upgrade this morning from Oppenheimer to outperform.
You don't get a lot of action, analyst action, Verizon. It's a stock that doesn't move. It trades like a bond. I mean, really, when you put it into perspective, look at where the stock's done in the last 6 months. I'm in the same spot. I mean, it gives a 4 or 5 point range for the year. So this thing trades like a bond to a certain extent, although not trading with bonds lately, because I guess the stock is a stock and hasn't really had the rally that some of the bonds have. But that being said, stock's getting an upgrade this morning. It's going to take out. Am I chasing it? I never chase Verizon. Could it get up to 58 today? Have people get excited? Maybe. But I don't want to treat it like in a stock that doesn't move much. I don't want to chase something that's up 1%.
VZ, it's trading up. That's a pretty big move for it, up 66 cents. Highs of the pre-market session, 57.37 right there. Let's see. I mean, I don't know where the whole numbers, there's probably some paper there as well. 57.50. That's a good number. That's one to keep an eye on. That was your high on August 19th. So I'll keep an eye on that. Above that, things kind of open up on the upside, maybe 58, but pretty big move for Verizon, moving 66 cents up in the pre-market, moving with the market, and the market's moving up 11 handles, 28.94 and a quarter, just off that pre-market high at 96 and a quarter.
It's a weird day to see TLT trading up $1.27 and the market trading up here too. I said that 5 handles ago. We continue to rally here, so I guess China matters a lot more here right now than the inverted yield curve.
Just no news out of China, I mean, is good for the market, right? I mean, no tweets and no retaliations.
Yeah. Well, that's a good point there. I mean, there's a good point there for sure.
All right.
I don't know. You're waiting for the next headline. That's all this market's going to chop around. It's going to move 50 handles on what the next headline is. Oh, if it's another potential deal here and, it's really convicted, it could really pop. If we come out and China puts on more tariffs or says something negative, we could drop 600 Dow points in a matter of an hour. So, or quicker than that. So this is a headline-driven market. Anybody that says they can tell you what's going on, we're in the middle of the range. There's not even something technically here, Joel. I mean, we're looking, 293 is resistance, 282, 283 on the SPY has been support. You're in the middle of the range. So really from the overall market, there's not even anything technically to grab here. And technicals take a back seat when you got headlines happening all the time. So it's very difficult. You just got to stay on, and I guess go with the flow. And you see that headline come, you almost got to go with it.
One more thing I'll mention is give myself a pat on the back. QSR got.
Let's talk about Spencer's pick.
Got some Kramer love last night. So if you listen to the Kramer before Kramer, i.e. me, you would have had that one. Yeah, actually, he was, as Dennis said, he was more bullish Tyson than anything else. But
he mentioned he did the chicken sandwich comparison last night between Popeyes and Chick-fil-A, and he said he loved the Popeyes chicken sandwich, but he said it's only 12% of QSR. The QSR is more of a Burger King play. So he said the pure play he thought was Tyson Foods, and Tyson Foods has been hot. He's like, they win no matter what, TSN. And Tyson popped up about 50 cents on that last night. It's not up that much now. I mean, Kramer gets these bumps after hours, and a lot of times they don't last. But I mean, Tyson Food, the chart tells it all. I mean, I agree with them. I mean, probably it is a good news fair. Here was Tyson just back in 2018 getting the beats down to $49, and the chicken wars is good for Tyson, up at $91 here now. I believe we are actually making
all-time
highs in TSN. So nice call, Kramer.
Yeah, very good. Eat more chicken, I guess. Trading up 46 cents at 91.90. Just the highs of the pre-market. I've taken this. I haven't looked at this stock in a long time here. Wow. New all-time high. Maybe some paper at 92. I don't know if there's any sellers in here yet, but one of the food stocks and people must be eating chicken and then having chocolate, because they're having, look at Hershey's chart, HSY, man. That thing has just been on. Hershey's ended 2000.
Never stopped going up.
Oh my gosh. It ended the 2018 at 107.18, and it hit 159.27. That's, you take all the moves all over going back to like 2010.
Monster move, eh?
Yeah, that is crazy. And since we're talking food here, let's just wrap it up with Beyond Meat. And they got a deal with KFC or something. Did I see that?
Yeah, yesterday. That's why it was the catalyst was up. They were trying Beyond Meat chicken. Beyond chicken.
I mean, this thing is knocking on the door, Dennis. I know you've called for the death of it a few times, but man, you got some.
Not going down now.
No, it's not going down. Let's see. What's a high we can lean on here?
I wouldn't want to be short it right now. Not in this chart.
No, it looks sleepy.
Yeah, it's done this before. We've seen this pattern. This is exactly what it did in June. It sold off significantly from the highs and then just started hanging out again. And then it gets a headline like yesterday and helps it out. If it gets another positive headline, it could help it out again, and then it squeezes them. So I don't know. I wouldn't want to be short it right now. I'll tell you that. I have no trade on. I don't intend to have any trade on. But if I was short this thing right now, I'd be a little bit nervous. I still say, and my call has been long term. I've never been able to call the short term on these trendy story stocks. I still say when we look at this, I said within 6 months, so that's probably 5 months ago. That's under $100. Well, it's halfway there. So I think in the next 6 months or 5 months, it's going to fall another 55 points. But from where it is, or 58 points from where it is in the pre-market. But it could squeeze you to 200 before that. Who knows? So I don't want to be short it.
All right. Just real quick, two spinners noting here. SPOOs, bond, gold, and oil all up today. We'll see if that's the same at the end of the day. Pretty
well, that's
pretty
what I've been saying too. This is weird. So the TLT trading higher. I've been saying this the third time I'm saying on the show. TLT higher and SPOOs are higher is weird as of this market right now. So I think either TLT starts to leak or the SPY starts to leak. I don't think they're both going to just continue to climb.
All right, Dennis, we're going to let you go.
Goodbye, Dennis. We will transfer over to ticker time now. I'll let Joel grab the screen and drop some tickers. If you're in either chat on premarket.benzinga.com or in our YouTube chat, drop those tickers in, and we will, or Joel will, I'll be in the background, break down those tickers on or those charts for you. As long as it takes, we'll go maybe 5-10 minutes or so.
Yep.
If you don't get any, that's totally fine. But if you got any tickers for us, drop them in there, and we'll let Joel sort of take the reins here and break down some charts for us. So I see CSX right now up on the screen.
Oh, yeah, that's what I had up. I had to pull up another layout here. So you got the right one. I wrote down a few tickers here. And so if you're going to I'll keep an eye on the chats. And I'm just going to go through these real quick. I'm not going to go through the news, and I'm not going to go on a 15-minute chart. I'm not going to look at any pre-market action. I'm just going to pull up the daily chart, and sometimes best technical analysis is something that stares you in the face right away. And plus, when you guys are giving me these stocks, I don't know if you're long. I don't know if you're short. I don't know if you're trying to get long. I don't know if you're whatever you're trying to do. Just giving real quick analysis here. Your investment decisions you can make on your own. The first one, Boeing back out of the abyss here, traded 320, and we've got a nice rally going up a buck 66 here. I'm looking at your high from. Looking at let's just call it 370. I see your high from Friday at 369.69. I see another pesky high at 371. So if you're looking for another leg up here in Boeing, you're going to get up. You're going to crack 370. You're going to hold 370 and challenge 380. So that's $10 away. We'll see if it could do that. On the downside with Boeing, if I was trying to protect some profits, I would look at that low from Friday as the low on Friday, 354.35. The reason I'd look at that is because if you take that out, there's no daily low until 341.01. Let's go here. Boy, we got a lot of tickers coming in. I'm going to go with Exact Sciences for full disclosure. I do own that stock for full disclosure. It was my wife that picked it. It's hanging out up here. I mean, I like it. The chart's looking good. I think you got to mop up somebody like around 121 here. And the reason I say mop up is I look at the highs. I see a couple at 120.5. I see one at 120.40. 120.98. So there's someone trying to work out of a piece here at 121. So I'd like to clear them up and get up and test that all-time high at 123.99. I have no orders in it, not planning to sell it anytime soon. Let's see here. Shake Shack. Boy, oh boy, we haven't talked about that stock in a long time. Shack is back. Holy mackerel. Why have you chatters been bringing this stock up to me? Is this correct? Did they do a reverse split or something? Oh my gosh, it's knocking on the door of $100. We hit 100.18. I would use that as a target in Shake Shack. And the all-time closing high was made yesterday at 99.47. So I'd keep an eye on that. I just can't believe how much that stock has rallied. Let's see if people are going to Wingstop as well. Wingstop, new all-time high a few days ago as well. That's trading in the red. I'm not sure if that's an odd lot or not, but for Wingstop, keep an eye on that all-time closing high, which was made on Thursday at 106.21. So looks like you're backing off. Let's see if you can clear that close at 106.21 on the downside. It's trading in the red here. So psychological, maybe if you're trying to protect some profits, but you don't want to get out too quickly. I see a pair of lows at 98.5. So I think that would be uncle for me as a point that's a double bottom there. So that looks like a good level. Mr. A is talking about a micron breakout. Well, that breakout's going to happen above 45 here. I hate to tell you. You had a high last week at 45.45. I see a couple other levels at 45.37. So for me, no major breakout until over 45.5 on that one. I haven't looked at AMD lately. I know it catches a cold every time it gets over 34. It's pulled back kind of in the middle of the nowhere. Tight range yesterday for AMD too. C-Stand 44 is short Federal Express, FDX. That's an interesting chart. Man, you just want to see this thing take out that December low, 150.94, another low at 150.68. You came down a couple days ago at 151.12. So it's hovering here near the bottom, but you really want to see it take out that low quickly and continue downside. But boy, I didn't realize how bad that stock was doing. Looking at UPS too. If you look at FDX, you got to look at UPS. People must be using UPS. That's going in opposite directions. There's a spread for you to put on, Dennis. You can short UPS and buy FedEx. I bet you that's several standard deviations out. Earliest the factor cut rates, I have no idea. ACB, Aurora Cannabis. Let's take a look at that. Needs to get away from this low right here. Yesterday's low, 553. Some lows in that area too, 578. I don't know. These stocks have just been out of favor. Really haven't rallied much. So I'd try and hang on. But if it took out this 550 on a closing basis, I think you got another leg down in that one. And then Aurora, that was making me think about Canopy Growth. That got an upgrade yesterday and it tried to rally and you had a strong market. Not good. It opened up 25.41, ticked 25.47. And then right back down and closed at 25.04. So didn't react real good on the upgrade. S&P futures making new highs as we speak. 97.25 up 12.5 handles. Haven't heard much news to relay from this rally, but I guess you don't need any. Quick look here at JNJ before I do the next stock. And now you guys are throwing some tough tickets and tickers in there for me. JNJ, I just keep an eye on that closing price. If you don't think it's that bad of news, just it should not go right on the day. Yesterday's close 127.80. Media Horde. I've never heard of this stock. KSHB. Holy macro. I don't know if I can type that in. KSHB. Low price stock, Kush Company Holdings, long-term trends against you, short-term trends against you. If you're trying to pick a bottom here, you got to keep an eye on that spike low at 360. And I'm not even going to pull up a longer-term chart. Really, no. What'd you say?
It's a cannabis play.
Oh, thank you, Spencer. Good call on that one. Boom. So that, just keep an eye on the low of the move. Marsh Murray's asking about the trade desk and that one. I tell you, Ryan Craver was telling me to get into this one a while ago. Of course, I didn't listen to him, but you got a good formation to look at here. You got a triple top in this one. Let's just call it 265, 3 highs in a row. I know we're $12 away from there. Let's see if sellers step down from that level. You actually have 4 highs in that area because you had a 266 high. So there's your major resistance in trade desk and kind of getting a little bump here from that 240 low, 239.01. So kind of in the middle. Wouldn't be too worried about it until it takes out 239.01. On a closing basis, Mr. A is looking at NTNX, Nutanix. Ooh. I don't know. You guys are trying to pick a bottom in this one, but you kind of got a little bit of a rounding bottom. This is very optimistic. Maybe a head and shoulders bottom. These are all maybes here. Still stock in a long-term downtrend. If you're trying to pick a bottom, there's been a buyer under $18. You dipped under 18 1, 2, 3 days in a row, but never closed below 18. So you got a buyer there. You know where your pain is. To next target on the upside. Let's see. I see we're clearing 1972 right now. 1995 was a high, but I think you go above that. 2188 could be another stopping point for here. Overstock. Patrick Byrne, I think he went on 60 Minutes, Spencer. Did you? I don't know if you're still around, but
Not see that.
yeah, he talking about his affair with a Russian spy or something. I can't even remember it. But man, bad day yesterday for it. Looking at this low from yesterday, 1653, closed just above it. Underneath that, this thing could be looking at 1548. You need Bitcoin to heat up on this one for it to get going. Joe's stock trader is, I think, XAU USD. I don't know if he's talking about the US dollar, but that's just been just a tear lately. A little bit of a pullback a few days ago, but I don't know, maybe draw a trend line off this low that you had if you're so inclined to draw trend lines at 25.89 and just curl it up. And that's a pretty steep trend line. So if it takes out that trend line, this is the UUP, that's the Invesco US dollar bull. And then you have UUD. And I think no, it's not UUD. So that is it. I'm going to do a couple more here. I'm going to do one for Miami option, Alibaba. And how's the Bobster doing here? Wow. 180 is a brick wall on the upside. Well, that doesn't help you much. You're $13 away. Take that out, make a shot at 190 and beyond. I don't know. It's kind of in the middle of a range, which is in the middle of a range. So if you're looking for a support level, I do like 163.83. That was your low on Friday, and then you had another low at 164.36. So I'd be more interested in that one on support at 164. And I think with this one, you just have to, wait for this whole China deal to be resolved. AJ Torres asking about Roku. Roku up $2.04. I guess I'm not going to pull it up now, but I would go to the 15-minute pre-market after hours chart on this one, see how high we got, maybe use that as a target. And then, I don't know, maybe put a stop way down under 130 and let them come and get you on the downside. Joe Stock Trader is talking about the gold market. Instead of the US dollar, I'm just going to look at the gold futures. Had that spike yesterday, that spike high up to 1565, backed off $25 on that. So clear that, and then longer term, maybe look for 1600. Major support at this thing down at 1500. You talk about psychological levels. Look at all those lows. You had 1503, 1502, 1503. So there's your major support here in the gold market. Zach Brown, I don't know if he's the country singer, Zach Brown, but he loves this simple review segment. But I'm starting to get a little hoarse here from talking so much. So I am going to wrap things up here. Get ready for the open. Folks, pre-market high in the SPOO's 97.25. I don't have a daily high that's not an intraday high way up to 29.30, and that 29.30, 29.40, that is the top of the trading range in the S&Ps. It's illustrated really well here. Look at all those daily highs there, folks. So if you want to challenge 3,000, got to get over 29.40 first. So thank you all for staying after. Have a great trading day. Back with you as usual tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.